All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, September 3rd, and we got ourselves a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment for all of my final plays. If that does interest, if you do want to fade me, absolutely free down in the pinned comment. In terms of yesterday, well, truth be told, it is still technically yesterday. I'm recording this late night, just before midnight here on Tuesday. So we have one play still pending, but 3 wins and 2 losses thus far. Blue Jays take home the win for plus money. We kind of lucked out with the pitcher change there for the Reds. The Giants and Rockies first 3 under 3.5, that comes through, even though the bench is cleared and there was hysteria in the first inning. And then Mitch Ferris, a really good look there in terms of us diving into his minor league stats and taking his over 1.5 walks. We'll take a cha-ching for that one. Our 2 losses, Dodgers, yikes, they lose to the Pirates, and the Mariners raise first 5 under 4.5. I still kind of like the look, just obviously an L is an L. Now, our only pending play is this Rangers and Diamondbacks game. 8th inning right now, it's 5-2, so we'll see. Maybe by the end of this video, we'll know how that one turns out. Rooting for an over there. In terms of the ride of the day, pumping some crowd noise for Adam here. Red Sox money line and Robin Anthony in the same game parlay. That cashes. But it was not easy. What an absolute sweat coming from a couple Red Sox fans here. The Red Sox had Garrett Crochet on the mound. Oh, easy enough, right? Wrong. Garrett Crochet gets tagged up, 4 home runs. Yikes. But the Red Sox still ultimately pull out the win. Roman Anthony gets 1 hit, right? But he did get hurt in the game. Luckily enough, he's able to get a hit there. So this one comes through. We'll drop another cha-ching on the soundboard. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's really simple, really fun, something unique we do here on the channel. We jump on board with one person's play each and every day. If they win, we continue to roll and ride with their plays. You can see here, Adam is now on the tracker and has 1 day under his belt. If you do lose, you still get the shout out, but unfortunately, we're shouting out a loss and dropping the womp womp from the soundboard, and that's no good, right? So get those hashtag ride of the days down in the comments. Now, even though we're rolling with Adam because he is on a streak now, right, technically, still use those hashtags down in the comments because you're helping out a ton of other people looking for great plays down there. So use that hashtag ride of the day down in the comments with your favorite plays. What do you say we go ahead and dive into today's slate? Actually, this is pretty damn big. I can't believe I'm forgetting this. Guys, NFL content is now starting to roll in on a regular basis. We are here week number 1, 12 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday, the time you guys are watching this. Week 1, H2H, the show in which me and Tassos battle it out each and every week. We have a wheel that dictates the categories we look into and all that. It's really, really fun, pretty damn unique. That drops at 12 p.m. Eastern time. And then 3 p.m. Eastern time, our very first Thursday night football video. Guys, I'm so excited for the NFL season, so make sure to go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, turn the notification bell on so you do not miss any of this. We have so much content coming out. Like some weeks, we have planned upwards of like 30 videos coming out. It's that crazy. We're putting in the work this NFL season. Go ahead and check it out, guys. Again, these 2 videos, personally for me, are dropping today at the time you guys watching this. Deep breath. Now we can dive into this slate. We're starting it off with the Marlins taking on the Nats. On the mound for the Nats is going to be Mitchell Parker. If you don't know much about Mitchell Parker, you can just pretty much call him Run-A-Lauer Parker. That should be his legal name. The guy hasn't been all that great. He's really struggled this year. 5.94 ERA. Really does struggle. Going up against Yuri Perez, who's been pretty serviceable. I mean, he's coming off of a bad start against the Mets, but the Mets are hitting everybody right now. I think that Perez is in the better spot now. He does struggle comparatively, on the road than he does at home. But still, he's going to go fastball. He's going to go slider. Those are 2 pitches that I'm really liking from him today, fastball and slider. 24th is where Washington ranks and 26th overall. You can even see the top of that lineup does not hit that fastball all that well. So where I'd go here is probably some way, shape, or form getting to the Marlins. Don't necessarily want to mix in their bullpen. Don't love their bullpen. So I would say maybe Marlins first 5, but then also a peek at a potential Washington team total under. We're not sure exactly what line we can snag as of right now. In fact, we might have that now loaded. Looks like we might. Yeah, let's see what we can get for a Nationals team total under. Under 4.5 for -155. I really don't mind that. It's going to be the bullpen that's a little bit of a concern for me, but I would say Nationals team total under 4.5 could be something to look at. I do trust Perez here in this spot, and he also has pitched against them already this year. 4 innings, 1 earned, 0 strikeouts, 3 walks. I mean, the 1 earned on 4 hits is probably the thing to write home about, because I don't know about the 0 strikeouts. That isn't all that great, right? Next up, Detroit taking on the Mets. On the mound for Detroit is going to be Casey Mize. A good pitcher, right? He's going up against Clay Holmes. Now, Mize has honestly had a little bit of some struggles lately, mainly his last 3 starts here. 4 earned through 6 against Minnesota. Let's put into context, it's Minnesota. Nobody should be allowing 4 to them. 3 earned through 5 2/3 against Kansas City. No strikeouts, though. And I think he had like 9 hits in that game and a couple walks. Then he went up against the Athletics, 3 1/3, 7 hits, 1 home run, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, 5 earned. So Casey Mize really hasn't been on. On the flip side, Clay Holmes has a 2.4 ERA in his last 5 starts, with sort of a blow-up start in there against Atlanta, 3 2/3, 5 earned. That's included in those 5, so he's obviously been pitching fairly well. I don't really want to get in front of whatever this Mets team is right now. They seem to be playing some decent baseball. I mean, their last 10 games with a couple outliers in there, but still, runs scored is 12, 10, 1, 8, 19, 4, 6, 6, 13, 8, 3. Like, this team's scoring. So to me, this is a spot in which we can probably look at the Mets. Maybe a Detroit team total under. Looks like we're going to have some weather here in Detroit. So if it's raining a lot, then yeah, the Mets probably can still play a little small ball. I expect Clay Holmes and that bullpen to be in somewhat of a better situation as well. So maybe a Detroit team total under if you don't think that, if you don't want to trust this Mets offense. But at this point, with the rain, right? At this point, I don't even know if you could have lightning striking down on these guys and they might still be scoring some runs. So Mets probably a decent look. I'm kind of surprised that you can get, -107 for them right now, but ultimately, that is something to consider. Their bullpen, is Clay Holmes due for some regression? Maybe that's what the number's trying to tell us. But to me, I don't want to step in this Mets team. So maybe we roll with them, but I do not think that I'm going to be betting against them today. Arizona taking on the Rangers. So this is the game that we're sweating out right now. Middle of the 8th, still 5-2. So we don't know how yesterday's game results yet. But Zach Gallen's listed on the bump. He's actually been pretty good. 2 flat ERA over his last 5. He's going up against Jack Leiter, who has a 1.4 ERA, averaging almost 6 strikeouts per game over his last 5. I like both of these pitchers in this spot, if I'm being honest, which, yeah, it's kind of crazy to back Zach Gallen. I get it. In fact, he is on the DMB graveyard, which you can see here, right in that middle headstone, but still going to kind of bend the rules a little bit and maybe take a peek at a first 500. I think that Leiter and Gallen can probably go out there and pitch okay. That being said, these are 2 offenses that at any given moment, boom, they could score runs, right? That's why even being 2 runs away in the 8th inning in this game that we're sweating out, I'm not losing hope. So these are 2 slight leans. The Rangers, I just think you're getting some good value behind. I think that Leiter's a good pitcher. Rangers, even though they're losing this game, might lose the one that they're playing right now. For plus 120, this offense has still been cruising, right? So with the exclusion of the game that we're sweating out right now, they've scored 7, 9, 9, 5, 27. Okay, there was a 0 in there. 5, 10, 4 runs. That's still a much more consistent offense than Arizona, even though Arizona's been giving you a good offensive run. So to me, it's going to be Rangers, first 5 under potentially, but realistically, those plays don't necessarily correlate. Like, if I like the Rangers, I think that they score runs, but I also, part of this brain, left brain, right brain, whatever, thinks that Jack Leiter and Zach Gallen can pitch well. So yeah, we'll continue to look at this one throughout the day. Obviously, we need to see how the bullpen shape up and finish up too, because again, it's an active game as of right now. So stay tuned for this one, I guess I could say. All right, guys, quick break to talk to you about Epic. If you have not checked out Epic yet, you need to do so. It's a daily fantasy app that you can try today. Get $50 for free. All you have to do is deposit $50, you get $50 for free with code GUYBOSTON. What make Epic cool and what makes it separate himself from the competition is, well, first and foremost, they have better payouts and better lines than a lot of the other apps out there. If you play the traditional pick'em route, right? You go and pick more or less based on player set projections. But what I think makes them really cool, and I mean really cool, bold, all caps, underlined, italicized, really cool, is the fact that they have the Fathom section of the app, meaning you can play the house, you can be the dealer in a sense, right? You can be the book. You can look at other players' entries. So say I make an entry and you're like, wow, I like 3 of the 4 legs, but that one is a terrible play. You can take that side, right, of that exact entry, and even if I just get one wrong, you can end up cashing out. You can fade other players' entries. New innovation to the peer-to-peer game. I think it's really damn cool. So go ahead and check it out, guys. Link down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. Make sure to use code GuyBoston to get that free $50 when signing up and depositing at least $50. Again, that link will be down below. Go check out Epic Fantasy. We're going to be talking a lot about them coming up, guys. Really like the app, and I think that there's going to be a lot of innovation and just better and better and more stuff coming to it, which is really cool. Not that it needs anything. The thing's already cruising right now. 38 of 50 states available. Really cool. No limits. All that stuff, guys. Go check it out. I think this thing's going to be pretty damn big. That link, again, will be down below. Let's jump back into these games. All right, we got the Padres taking on the Orioles. Nestor Cortez on the mound for the Padres. That is not a guy that I have too much interest in backing as of right now. He's coming off of his first good start, but I still don't think he's all that consistent, right? He pitched against the Dodgers, 6 innings pitched, 0 earned. I'll give him credit for that. Baltimore has Cade Povich on the mound. He's been a little strugglesome, but realistically, again, it kind of comes down to the fact that I don't trust Nestor Cortez all that much. So for the price tag, and guys, this is very much price dependent because for plus 160 right now, you can look at the Orioles. I'll lean in that direction. Also, Cade Povich is a lefty, and this is a severely different lineup on the Padres side of things against lefties compared to righties. One of the better lineups in baseball against righties in the last 30 days, struggling against lefties to some degree. So I think that there's some upside here for the Orioles to score some runs. I'm also going to lean towards the over, even though that doesn't necessarily correlate to the Padres struggling against lefties, but a couple things here. Either one of these pitchers at any given moment can kind of blow up, right? That could contribute to an over. Throw in the fact that I don't love the Baltimore bullpen. The Padres probably could, have some trouble with Povich, even if that's the case. Then struggle in, the Baltimore bullpen could struggle against them in the late innings, and we could see some runs come in. So Orioles, because of that price tag, I do think that Nestor Cortez, could pitch okay, but I don't think that he's worth minus 160 and beyond. So Orioles for me because of the price tag. And then that over, I think that we could see, either one of these pitchers give up some crooked numbers throughout the game. And then throw in the fact that we have a taxed bullpen on the San Diego side of things and a bad bullpen on the Baltimore side of things. Recipe for an over to me. Pirates taking on the Dodgers. One of our losers yesterday, we had the Dodgers on the money line. And I feel like we got some good value in terms of when we pulled the trigger too, but they ended up losing that game. What was the final score? I think it was 9-2. Yeah, they battled back 9-7. But still, the Pirates just beat this Dodgers squad. Now, Shohei Ohtani's on the bump here, or listed as a starter for this Dodgers squad. He's obviously a really good pitcher. Braxton Axcraft has been pretty good lately, though. I will say that. I do think that at some point we're going to see the Dodgers correct themselves, and I've been saying that for a while. So in this spot, I think the Dodgers get out to an early lead. I'm going to lean towards them on the first 5 run line. If you can get them for a good number on the money line right now, minus 169, I kind of want to watch that number to see if it creeps into the maybe mid 160s, because I think I would pull the trigger on that. I don't think that this Dodgers team loses another one to the Pirates, especially after they scored 7 runs. How often is this Pittsburgh team going to keep scoring that many runs? They have been scoring a decent amount of runs in kind of spotty starts, but not really stringing anything consistently together. I do think the Dodgers also could get to Ashcraft. I mean, should be, I should say, and should being the key word here, should be due for some regression. I mean, his last few outings, 1-1-0-0, 1 earned. That's in, on average, I'd say right around 5 innings of work, 0.6 ERA. Obviously, he's opened some games too, so he hasn't pitched full 5 innings and stuff, but I'm just kind of throwing out arbitrary on average numbers. He's been pretty good, but I don't think that he's go against the Dodgers good. He's gone against Colorado, St. Louis, the Cubs in Wrigley with wind blowing in, Cincinnati, does have Toronto on there as well, so that's a little bit of a feather in the cap, but still, I think the Dodgers can get to him. Give me the Dodgers as well as their team total over. Reds taking on the Blue Jays. This game ended in a 12-9 win for Toronto yesterday. We had Toronto, so that's good to see. Today we have Zach Littell on the mound. He's been really good for Cincinnati. He's been very consistent as well. At home, he has some good numbers, which is not easy in this ballpark. It's pretty hard, right? he's going up against Shane Bieber, who has a couple starts under his belt now, and he's looked really, really good so far in that Toronto uniform. One start against Miami, 2 hits through 6 innings, 9 strikeouts, 1 earned. Then he pitched against Milwaukee. They did lose that game, but not really because of him. 5 1/3, 5 hits, 6 strikeouts, no walks, 2 earned. So he's been very good. I really wanted to get to the Reds here and back Littell, but I do still think that there's an offensive advantage for the Blue Jays, much like we saw today. Now, I do expect there to be fewer runs today, especially because they both just blew their load in yesterday's game. Now it looks like we're going to have some rain, which I think would counteract Great American Small Park a little bit. So I think that this is a spot, if you can snag a 9 out there, is a decent spot to look at. I think we have like a 5-3, 4-3 type of a win for Toronto on our hands. So yeah, I'm going to lean towards the under here as well as the Blue Jays. And again, it just kind of comes down to the fact that this Blue Jays offense, I have the sense that, you know, when they need to score, they're able to score in a sense, right? They're just the better offense compared to this Reds team, who has been a decent offense at times, but also has been crazy inconsistent at times as well. And now they have 3 games in a row scoring 5+ runs. One of those 7, one of those 9, the other one 5. Would it surprise anyone if they kind of do what they've been doing all year? 3 games of good run scoring, 5 games of not good, 4 games of good. Like, it's just too much of a roller coaster for me. The Toronto Blue Jays are the much more consistent squad. All right, Red Sox taking on the Guardians. We talked about it when we went over the ride of the day. The Red Sox squeaked out a win, and that normally doesn't happen when your starting pitcher gets shelled, right? That was Garrett Crochet's worst outing of the season, but the Red Sox still pull out an 11-7 win. So good for them, scoring, I think it was, 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th after being locked up at 7 for a while. Now today, we don't know exactly who's going to be the primary pitcher, but it looks like Bernardino is going to be the opener. I really am a Bernardino fan. He's going to be the opener for this squad. He's been very, very good. He does have kind of a tough spot going up against Jose Ramirez and Angel Martinez from the right side. He struggles against righties. But after that, that's kind of what the concern kind of comes in for me. Is it going to be Dustin May? I've seen his name thrown out there, but I've also seen the name Harrison coming up from AAA, the guy that pitched, he pitched for the Giants earlier this year. They got him in the Devers trade, and he hasn't pitched in the big since. So depending on who's starting, maybe this is a spot to consider the Red Sox, but right now, I just kind of trust this Red Sox offense. Now, I will throw in the fact that Roman Anthony left the game injured. That's obviously a big deal, but we didn't even talk about the Cleveland pitcher here, Joey Wentz. I think this is a guy that at any given moment can let up some runs. He definitely struggles against left-handed bats. Nathaniel Lowe looks like he's been doing pretty well. Jarren Duran, obviously, if Roman Anthony's out, then that's a miss, but Yoshida had a good game tonight, so I do think that that could be something to consider here. And also throw in the fact that Cantillo is going to throw a ton of fastballs. That's a pitch this Red Sox team hits well. So yeah, kind of a hybrid of backing the Red Sox and maybe the over, taking a peek at their team total over in that spot. Normally, I know we're giving like a side and the total. This is kind of the mix of the two, if you will. All right, Tampa Bay taking on the Mariners here. This is one of our losers from yesterday. We had the first 5 under 4.5. Now, you look at the game, and you're like, 6-5, high-scoring game. It was only 5 runs. We lost on the hook in that first 5 under, and we cashed it a couple days ago. I kind of want to go right back to that first 5 under, but I also like the Mariners in this spot to, 1, pull out 1 win in here and avoid the sweep, and 2, back George Kirby. He's actually starting to round into form pretty well, which is good, right? Obviously, when he came back, he was a little shaky, but he's had more good than bad. And Adrian Hauser's on the other side. I do like him. That's why I like the first 5 under, but we've also seen some sporadicness since him, being on this Tampa Bay team. Like, he's had some good outings, some bad outings. I expect Seattle to be able to at least get to him the littlest bit, right? They're hitting righties pretty well lately compared to lefties. So yeah, first 5 under, I don't think it's going to be a massively high scoring game, but I also do like the Mariners in this spot. Throw in the fact that George Kirby, does not really walk guys. We know that. This is a Tampa Bay team that barely walks themselves, so it's almost like a match made in heaven. They're going to need to hit him to be able to get guys on. He's going to throw the fastball, slider, sinker, and knuckle curve. None of those pitches are really like a green light special for any of these Tampa Bay batters. So yeah, I like the Mariners first 5 under. Maybe I would say Mariners first, then first 5 under if I had to rank those 2 plays. Royals taking on the Angels. Angels get the win 5-1 in yesterday's game. Today, I think, could be a little bit different. We have Caden Dana listed as a starter for the Angels. He has a couple relief outings this year, nothing all that special. He pitched last year. Again, nothing all that special. I think a 7.5 ERA with a 2 flat whip. he's going up against Ryan Bergert, who, yeah, if you look at some of his numbers, you might be thinking, okay, he's not all that great, but he's really rounding into form, and I do really like Ryan Bergert. I think he's going to be a guy that we can back a decent amount for years to come. So again, I mentioned how his numbers don't look all that great, but on the season, he still has a sub-3 ERA. His whip at 1.11, so you love to see all that, right? He's got a 1.6 ERA over his last 5. Just about 4 hits allowed per game, pitching into the 6th inning on average, averaging 5 Ks and about 1.5 walks. So to me, this is Royals all the way. Maybe their team total over as well. Going to get a lot of fastballs, changeups, and sliders out of Dana. And this is a Royals team that's been hitting righties really well in the last 30 days, right? And this is a guy that really struggles against righties. Ever heard of Miguel Garcia, Bobby Witt, Salvador Perez? I do think that this Royals team could do some damage. So whether or not you like the Royals on the money line backing Bergert and all that jazz, I still do think that they could score some runs. So even still, I guess the Royals team total over. If you don't like Bergert, you look at that. But I think Bergert's a big key to this puzzle. I think that he could be very good. Now we have to keep an eye on what price we can get. That minus 158, I almost feel like I should hop on now, the night prior, but we'll wait it out. I just hope we don't wake up tomorrow morning before we roll with it and be like, oh my God, it's at like minus 180. I really hope that's not the case, because in a bounce back spot with Bergert on the mound, I think this is a good spot to back Kansas City. Twins taking on the White Sox 2 games in a row now. I've said I like the White Sox and I like them to score runs, and we don't have the cojones to drop them on the table and play it, so I can't even victory lap it, right? I do think that things kind of flip on their head here. Now, this is not a sweep spot. This is a 4-game series, so it's not like I'm betting or thinking about betting the Twins to avoid the sweep. I just don't think they lose 3 in a row. Now, on the mound, they have Zebby Matthews, who's been pretty serviceable at home here, going up against Yoendrys Gomez, who I don't think is all that special. So, to me, it's easy enough to lean towards the Twins, but I mean, you have to be a psycho to be paying minus 160 for a Twins team that just isn't all that great, right? Like, we knew after the deadline that this team was going to kind of start to crumble, and I want to say, and I hate to say, I guess, that they've been starting to do that, right? I don't know why I hate to say it. I'm not like a Twins fan or anything, but they're 3-7 in their last 10 games. I also think that this could be an under type spot. If the Twins win a game, I highly doubt it's because they scored a boatload of runs. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it. So if I lean Twins, the thing that seems like it has to correlate would be the under 8.5 here in my brain. All right, Brewers taking on the Phillies. This should be a good one here. Milwaukee coming off of a 10-8 loss to Philadelphia. Phillies obviously coming off of the win. That was Misarowski and Taijuan Walker. Today we have Jose Quintana on the bump going up against Aaron Nola. I don't necessarily love the idea of backing Aaron Nola. I'll admit that. But I think that this Phillies offense is going to, or is, I guess, already rounding into form and rounding into late season form. I like them. I don't think you're going to get plus money behind the Phillies very often. And you have it here today. Quintana, not exactly a guy that I absolutely love. He's struggled at home this year. I will say he's good against lefties. So obviously Schwarber, Harper, that does a lot for him. But still, I think this is going to be a spot in which runs come in from both sides. Nola, as well as Quintana. Then you have fairly taxed bullpens. I mean, no one pitched obviously yesterday, but the day before, it's like the entire team pitched out of the bullpen. So I do think that we could see a consistent flow of runs. Good offense on the Philly side, even though they do struggle against lefties compared to righties. Still a, above average team against lefties. And then you have the Brewers, who obviously are a very good offense. Give me that over 8.5. You also have a plus, I believe it's plus 3% run index here in American Family Field, so we love to see that as well. Give me that over 8.5. It's 9 in a lot of places, but there's still a couple 8.5s out there, so maybe that is a spot to pounce on sooner rather than later. Update on the one that we were sweating out, right? The Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Finishes 5-3. We lose on the hook. So that recap will be a 3-3 night, losing a little bit of juice off the top. Figured I'd give that update because, at this point now at 12:30, we have that all squared away. Unfortunate, but you know what? At least we had a chance. Cubs taking on the Braves. Cade Horton on the bump for the Cubs. Going up against Bryce Elder for the Braves. This is a 4-3 win yesterday for the Cubs. They've now taken both games in this series. And though I'm not usually one to get down with a sweep, I really do still think that this could be a Cubs spot and potentially a team total over spot for them. I think that this wind in Wrigley is going to do a lot, so you'll probably be able to get a decent enough number. But the reason I like this is, first and foremost, Bryce Elder's numbers against this Cubs team don't look all that great. And even using our dashboard, you could see here, he throws a ton of sliders. that's a pitch that this Cubs team hits pretty damn well, including, a lot of the guys in the lineup overall. So to me, yeah, I mean, is it worth that minus 150 price tag? Fringe. I think that this is probably priced right around a minus 145 to me, so being only a few cents off, I don't mind it. Cade Horton also has a 1.04 whip at home, an average against of 213. I do kind of trust him here when he's in Wrigley, especially with the wind blowing, and he's got a sub-1 ERA over his last 5 starts, compared to Bryce Elder, who's kind of approaching 4, and his last few starts against the Cubs are no bueno. So give me the Cubs and their team total over. Again, I think the team total over, you might be able to get a good number behind, especially tomorrow, the day of the game, because of the weather in Wrigley. But the Cubs can play some small ball. They're used to that. All right, Cardinals taking on the Athletics. 2-1 win for the Cardinals yesterday. A lot different than the 11-3 win for the A's in Game 1 of this series. Now, this is a spot in which Liberatore is on the bump for St. Louis. He really hasn't been all that great. He's been a consistent 4-5 innings of 3-4 earned. He's got a 3 flat ERA over his last 5. Going up against Jeffrey Springs, who has been inconsistent, but definitely has shown some flashes of pitching fairly well. Now, he's going to throw a lot of fastballs from the left side. That's a pitch St. Louis doesn't hit all that well, but one thing I want to draw attention to here is that St. Louis against lefties has been very, very good. Now, nothing really compared to how the A's are, and even the pitch mix here I do like, so, for that reason, I like the Athletics, but I'm also kind of eyeing an over 8.5 here. Yes, it's a little dicey with 2 inconsistent offenses, but to me, this is the type of spot in which we could see 5-4, especially after a low-scoring game in that last one. And what if one of these teams does kind of go off, right? Again, St. Louis against lefties, they've been good against that. The Athletics against mediocre to bad pitchers, they've been murdering them, right? So yeah, in this spot, I think that an over 8 actually could be in play, even though, like I said, these are 2 fairly inconsistent offenses. Now, I will say Kurtz, Wilson, Rooker, Soderstrom, even Langeliers, all the way down to Blade in the lineup, all have really good pitch mix ratings, so maybe, just maybe, a safer spot would be to take a peek at the Athletics team total over if you wanted to kind of shrink it down and trim some of the fat. I like that idea as well because they're in a bounce back spot after doing squat yesterday, and you can get them right now over 3.5 runs scored. Maybe that's something to consider, right? You're paying a little bit of juice for that, but still, maybe that's something that to keep in mind in terms of, again, shrinking and cutting the fat, not including a bunch of variables. So maybe an Athletics team total over could be in play as well. But keep an eye on the final plays. We'll let you know what we end up rolling with. Astros taking on the Yankees. Yankees win 7-1 in Game 1 of this series. Grand slam off of Framber Valdez there. Today looks like we're going to get Jason Alexander up against Will Warren. I'll give you that. Jason Alexander actually is probably a little bit more consistent than Warren. Warren is either having really good starts or bad outings. It's a little bit of a mixed bag. But what I can't give you is that this Astros offense is even really sniffing the jockstrap of the New York offense, and especially the New York offense when it comes to power. Against righties in the last 30 days, 5th in OPS, 1st in ISO, 5th in slugging. 1st in ISO overall last 30 days, and 3rd in slugging overall. And they're hitting more fly balls than any other team in the league right now. 30th in terms of ground ball to fly ball rate. So number 1 in terms of fly ball to ground ball rate. That might be a problem for Alexander because he likes to keep the ball down. But if this Yankees team can kind of go above and beyond and lift it up, then that takes away somewhat of something that he's been doing really well, and he does pitch to contact. So I think this is a spot in which the Yankees can kind of do their thing again. I'm going to lean towards the over as well because I really can't envision, Will Warren pitching all that phenomenally. Now, I will honestly give him a little bit of credit. There's a ton of righties projected in this Houston lineup, right? Will Warren's actually been pretty damn serviceable against righties, so maybe it's a Yankees or Yankees team total over. Much like we just talked about the A's, maybe trimming some of the fat, not having to rely on Houston to carry any of their own weight, and just saying Yankees, go out there and score some runs. Maybe that is the smarter move, but as of right now, I don't want to fully trust Will Warren whatsoever. And don't get me wrong, like I mentioned, he has plenty of really good starts this season and recently, but he also has these starts in which he's going to give you 4 innings, 5 earned, like he did against the Red Sox, or, pitch deep into the game and then all of a sudden blow up. It's almost like he can't fully piece everything together. Now, I say that after, I think, 2 of his last 5 starts, he's had 0 earned. That's what I mean, though, right? Like, he'll go from that to all of a sudden blowing up, and he's coming off a really good start. He could have a blow-up start because he hasn't been able to piece 2 good starts together. All right, last game of the night here. We got Colorado taking on the San Francisco Giants. On the mound for Colorado is going to be Herman Marquez. Going up against Robbie Ray. Now, Marquez is not exactly the best pitcher, and we've seen that this year. Robbie Ray, though, has had some really bad starts lately. That being said, this is not a very good lineup in Colorado, right? And last time he pitched there, he actually looked okay, and it was earlier this year. 4 innings pitched, 2 earned, 5 strikeouts. I'm more or less saying the 2 earned is pretty good, especially for pitching in Coors, right? And this is still a decent bullpen from San Francisco. So I would say San Fran either on the run line, but I think you're at -2 right now, so maybe even a juiced first 5. Just win the first 5 for us, right? In this game, at the end of 5 innings, I believe they're up like, 5-2? So they would have even covered a first 5 -1 if you needed that. Or you could pivot to a Colorado team total under. They're going to get the fastball, knuckle curve, the sinker. All of these pitches I wouldn't necessarily fastball, slider, knuckle curve, sinker, changeup from Ray. All those pitches I don't necessarily deem them to hit all that well. And again, the fastball, I've been telling you guys all year, the fastball is a pitch that based on how it spins, it doesn't get affected by the Coors altitude and stuff as much. Now, obviously, you need a high spin rate and that type of thing, but even still. Also, throw in the fact that Robbie Ray has a really good swing and miss rate. That's phenomenal in terms of being able to, fight the altitude, because Colorado needs to hit the ball to be able to go out there and score some runs and actually make this a question, right? So, yeah, Giants first 5 or Colorado team total under is what I'd look at in this one. And guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you guys did enjoy, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment 31 if you made it this far in the video, and make sure you go ahead and check out our NFL content that is now live or will be live later today at the time you guys watching this. Super excited for the NFL season. We had a killer NFL year last year, hoping to do that again. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.